Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Digital Mittelstand. I'm John, and I am helping small and medium businesses overcoming their digital transformation challenges. Today, I have Neil Thomson with me. He is not only quite experienced in IT industry, but also especially he is experienced when it comes to business process management. Without any further ado, Neil, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Yes, thank you, Jan. Thank you very much for inviting me here today. And my name is Neil Thomson, and as Jan said, I'm with Netoloji Software. I'm actually the international channel manager for them. Before this, I worked for Landesk, which is now Ivanti, and also Schaflik with Landesk. I was heavily involved in ITSM, service desk, and we will see some correlation between that and business process management. Business process management is the speciality of Netoloji. Netoloji is an innovative and dynamic software company specialized in business process management. And we help companies to digitize, improve, accelerate business-specific processes with eFlow, which is a no-code business process management tool. The company was established 10 years ago in Ankara, the capital of Turkey, but a couple of years later, it was deemed necessary to move to the real commercial capital, which of course is Istanbul. And then the first branch office was opened in 2016, followed by an office in Chicago in 2018. By this time, it was decided that the company had hit the ceiling for expansion in Turkey and the near Middle East. And so it was decided to form a small international team of now 4 people. And our remit has been to expand market awareness of Netoloji initially throughout EMEA. And this we did quite successfully in 2019. And we were going on to the next phase in 2020 when the pandemic came along. And as you probably know, most companies in Northern Europe, in Germany, in the UK, Scandinavia, etc., the countries which are really saturated with lots of software companies, and most companies have got something, they just stopped. So we had to have a look somewhere else, and we actually found great success in expanding our channel in Latin America and the Caribbean. So today we've got nearly 50 international business partners, and actually just yesterday we signed an agreement with a company in India, which is our first company there, and that is a country with a population of 3 point something billion, maybe another 100,000 today. I don't know, but certainly the second largest market in the world. So that's very exciting. And we've got more than 500 customers and nearly 50,000 end users. And that's, in a nutshell, that's really Netoloji, what we do. And what have we got next in the menu, Chan?
Yeah, but thank you for the introduction. And it's quite amazing to see how companies focusing on digitalization were actually excelled in 2020, expanded their presence, and that also comes in the lines with pandemic in the beginning, maybe hindered the businesses, especially for digitalization projects. But after a couple of months, the curve was reversed, and people understood the real value in digitalization, especially in Germany. And when I say in Germany, before I go to my first question, you are living in the UK, but you also lived in Germany, right?
Yes, I lived a long time in Germany. Same as you in the Hauptstadt, and I remember it's not so long ago. Okay, it's more than 20 years ago. But I had a car in Berlin, and I was moving from Berlin to Celle. And they said to me, "Oh, you will have to change your number plates." Oh, okay. Can I do that in Berlin? Oh, no, 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 no. You can't do that. You'll have to go to Celle and do it. Okay. So I drive down there, and they said, "Oh, this takes about a week." Oh, really? Oh, okay. But by the way, I've got to drive back to Berlin in a couple of days. Oh, you can't do that because that's not
You don't have it?
that's no, that's not allowed. And I said, "Well, do I fill in something online?" No, here's a couple of sheets of A4 paper. Fill in all your details in black pen, and we'll have a look at it. And in about 2 weeks, we'll give you a set of number plates. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I think we've moved on a little since then, which is good.
But yeah, but right now you can do your Anmeldung online. So
oh, very good.
Step.
But just a word about the pandemic. There is a silver lining in the cloud, as we say, that up to a year ago, it was just amazing. I changed jobs about 3 years ago, and I was offered a number of posts in the UK, where the hub of the software industry is in the Thames Valley, and it's about 80 kilometers from where I live. And I said, "Can I work from home?" And they said, "Oh, no, 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 you can't do that." I said, "Oh, what does it entail?" "Oh, you'll be calling customers and sending emails and stuff." And I said, "Well, I may live in the rural area in a small town, but we've actually got the internet, and we've even got telephones." "Oh, no, 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 you can't do that. You must come in here. You must drive down the road and down the motorway, sort of 80 kilometers each day. That's what everybody else does." "Oh, is that the reason?" Yeah, well, it's just normal. That's it." And of course, when the pandemic came along and all of a sudden offices were shut, people couldn't get their expenses, and they couldn't get their vacation sorted out. The vacation wasn't so bad, but actually expenses involves getting money, real money.
Yeah.
And "Oh, come down to the office and you'll get it." "Oh, wait a minute, the office is closed." "Transfer it to the bank." "Oh, well, we haven't got the paperwork."
Yeah, but
so anyway,
this is a great point. No, let's build up on that example because it harmonizes with my next question perfectly. What is the BPM tool and how it can help Mittelstand? For example, take your example and maybe you build up on it.
Yeah, well, the Mittelstand is huge, really. In Germany, it's called the Mittelstand. In Switzerland, it's called the KMU. In Latin America, it's the SME. Some countries, it's SMB. Smaller companies, whatever they want to call it, we know what it is. And most countries, you'll find that about 80% of companies in manufacturing and commerce are actually Mittelstand. You have about 20%. It's the 80-20 rule, which works in a lot of things. And because so many of them were just used to it. They've always been in the office, and you've always had to go. Maybe you could work up 1 or 2 days from home. And of course, you could walk along to the finance office and fill in a little form and hand it over lots of receipts, etc. And quite possibly you would be paid in cash because they couldn't transfer it to a bank. They just said, "There's the cash, sign here, thank you very much." But of course, when the pandemic came along, thinking, "Oh my goodness, how can we do? What do we do?" And there's been the company I worked for was actually Landes. We were moving in 2014 to new offices in Bracknell, and the US said, "Oh, yes, we've done the calculations, and you need 130 desks and seats." And we said, "No, we've got 130 people, but they don't all work from the office." "Oh, really?" "No, yes, really." So we actually need about 25 and maybe 10 hot seats And when we have a company meeting, we'll go to a hotel anyway. And, so you could save a lot of money. And we've seen our marketing company that we use, they had a suite of offices in London overlooking the Thames in the city centre. And their lease was up last April. Very lucky, really, looking back on it, when the pandemic started. And somebody took the decision, no, we're going to have to work from home anyway. That's it. We're not signing again. And they're still working from home. And if they have a team meeting once a month, they just call Regis or someone like that. And they're saving a lot of money.
Yeah. So digitalization.
CEOs like that.
Digitalization helped them to run their businesses from their homes or from wherever they want. But what's a BPM tool to do with?
Well, there are some very long explanations of what a BPM tool is. And there are it goes from quite simple to extremely complex versions of BPM by the enterprise boys. And most of the small to medium companies that we talk to, especially ones in Latin America, they think BPM, that means enterprise, that means SAP, it means Oracle, that means very complicated, too complicated for our guys, maybe the IT department, and it's going to take a long time. And long time means a lot of money as well. And we come across this with customers. Even though we were talking to a customer in Jamaica last week, and they said, how long is this going to take? I said, a couple of days. Guys, what? A couple of days? The ERP took 8 months. I said, well, yes, an ERP is definitely more complicated, but they said it would take a few weeks to do a BPM. I said, no, not with us. And it doesn't have to be Netoloji. There are a lot of other companies who are catering for the Mittelstand. So it does not need to be complicated. It does not need to be expensive. And my understanding of the BPM is that the Rolls-Royce description is it's the orchestration of digital tools and services. For example, if you take a look at the procurement to pay process with the help of the BPM, getting the approvals for the procurement. No procurement can exist without an approval. Quite often, it'll have to, depending on the amount of money involved, if it's a lot of money, then the line manager will approve it, but then he's only allowed to approve up to, let's say, $5,000. But it's more than that, so he's got to send it up to his, maybe the plant manager or the finance manager at the plant. But, oh no, it's too high for him as well. He's got to send it on to the board. And someone in the board has got to approve it. And in the days of paper, that could take weeks. And now, even with laptops, it can take days to catch somebody. So we've actually got a very nifty mobile solution so that you can catch the guy on his mobile. And if it's very urgent, you can bug him until he does do something and approves it. And he just needs to approve it basically by a click. But it doesn't matter whether he's in Australia, on the beach, driving. Well, if he's driving, comes off the motorway, of course. But doesn't matter what he's doing. He can do an approval wherever he is. And that's very good.
So not only digitalizing the process, so removing the paper, but also removing the limits of location, right? So people doesn't have to be in their offices, on their computer even. So even with a mobile app, a BPM tool can help companies to make quicker decisions or quicker approvals, because quicker approvals means, if for a Mittelstand, an example is coming to my mind because I remember we talked about it. If there is a procurement needs to be for the shop floor, So the shorter the procurement circle is, the better for the shop floor, for the production, right? So
absolutely, because in these days of just in time is very good, but you've got to be fair to the supplier. You can't. I've experienced it from the side of the just-in-time supplier, where we were supplying a company in the just-in-time basis with industrial fasteners, so that at each stage of where they were building buses, where they were building the bus, they moved it along, and on the wall there were trays of different screws, etc., and you scanned them, etc. And we got a phone call once saying, "Oh, all the bins are empty." Can't be. It's impossible. What's going on? Just, "Oh, we introduced a night shift." You didn't tell us. Oh, didn't we? No. So that was interesting, but we got everything approved very quickly that way. And I remember it's not long ago when you were talking about 7 days normal for an approval. Now it's got to be 7 hours in some cases.
Yeah, and especially it's so difficult to catch the guys on the top management. So, and in Mittelstand I see a lot of Familienunternehmen, so the family companies, so they are running the businesses, they are quite busy, but they have to approve. So it is also a big plus for the end user, right? They feel relieved. But speaking about misconceptions, what are the misconceptions of BPM? You talked about it a little bit, but can you elaborate on that in specific terms for Mittelstand?
Yeah, my real hobby horse is, and I've put it on my, it's against my name and my profile, is that BPM does not need to be expensive, and it does not need to be complex. And this is what we've got to educate the Mittelstand about, not just in Germany, but especially in the developing markets in Latin America, that we work in Asia, but certainly also in the Mittelstand. Same in the UK, they think, oh, BPM, that's part of ERP, therefore it's extremely complex. When we got the ERP in, that took months. Therefore, the BPM, we're looking at, how many weeks? No, you're not looking at weeks, because we work on a no-code basis, and other companies work on low code, but it means that the time is much faster. If you're looking at the process, you don't have to have people from the IT department writing it. In fact, they are not the best people to do it anyway. The guy in the IT department, who may well get stiff to do it in the past, he knew Windows 10, and he knows 365, and he probably knows Cisco, but he doesn't know what's going on in the shop floor. He doesn't know, he's working for an insurance company. He doesn't understand how it works. He doesn't know how the ships come in to get unloaded. But somebody else who's working down there does. And it's those sort of people who know what's going on at the shop floor, or wherever the work is being carried out. It may be HR, it may be insurance or finance. The person who knows the flow and the process, they write the process. And when they're doing it with eFlow, it's basically like Microsoft Visio. And someone who's been doing it for only a couple of weeks to do a basic one can take 15-20 minutes to do it. Even the guys who are starting up, it take them an hour and a half or something, because they're unsure of what they're doing. But it's very fast and it's simple. But the message must be, it's not, BPM does not need to be complicated, and it does not need to break the bank.
Yeah.
It's shop around.
Yeah, especially with the complexity. I think with low code, no code movement, we are moving into direction like websites in 20 years ago. in 20 years ago, you have to have ASP knowledge. Old guys would remember that. PHP knowledge, HTML knowledge, GUI knowledge. And right now, you can just go for a code platform and design your website in a matter of hours. So it's live.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be possible 20 years ago, not for sure. And the same trend I see in the low code, no code development. And the more user friendly the designer part, the better for the end user. By the way, I need to say, it doesn't mean that we don't need coders. We need them auf jeden Fall in German.
Yes, certainly. We need for the more complex parts, then we obviously need the coding. But yeah, for a standard vacation request, or for purchasing, or for normal expenses, the blocks are already there. And in our instance, of course, it looks like Visio. It's to the extent it is, of course. And the blocks are there. The work has been done, and all you're doing is moving the blocks around and connecting them up.
Yeah, and right this point, I would like to ask, because you were talking about some processes that are very easy and not complicated. What are the use case examples for the Mittelstand of BPM, so processes?
Yeah, well, I've got some examples at the end, which I can go into in the end, but the story we get from our customers is the same. There's one in particular who they were drowning under paper, and they're actually a manufacturer. They manufacture components for elevators, for lifts, for big companies such as Schindler in Switzerland.
Tier 2 supplier, Tier 3 supplier.
Yes, and they admitted to us that when they went to because it was a small company, when they went to a trade show in Europe, which they did about 5-6 times a year, their processes stopped because there was nobody left in the company virtually. And what you're going to do with bits of paper? And guys would come up to their customers would come up to the stand and say, "Oh yes, we're looking for this, this, and this." And they had to write it down as fast as they can, sometimes record it. And then the next week, and I think if we've been around, most of us have done this, understand it, 10 years ago, we used to have to do this. When you get back, you're looking at whose handwriting's that? It's yours. Oh, right, okay. Once they used, this is Fupa List, by the way. Once they started using eFlow, they integrated that with their CRM, and armed with iPads, or iPads of some sort, the Android or iOS, they would take note of what the customer was asking for. Then they would then be able to decide, ask him what sort of brochures he wanted, what sort of pricing he wanted, and they could actually send the mail to his email address before he left the stand.
Yeah, and this is also a process. So a structured process that they follow, but they didn't know that they were following. And by a digitalization tool, a BPM tool, they not only digitalized their process, but also structured it so that the increased efficiency and the customer satisfaction. Put yourself in the shoes of the customer that are on the stand. Even without leaving the stand, you have all the information you need, while all the other guys that you have talked to said they will send you an email, and maybe an email comes after 2 weeks, but you are already 2 weeks ahead of the competition, and it is a good customer experience. And I believe in 21st century, everything about customer experience. You have
it's very good when the customer's iPhone or his iPad goes ping, and he says, "Oh, what's that?" And he goes, "Oh, it's an email from you guys."
Yeah. Neil, before we close, I just want to ask you your top suggestion for the Mittelstand owners, Mittelstand managers to apply right away. So your key takeaway.
But the first, well, we'll hark back to the our logo virtually is that BPM does not need to be complicated. Yes, further down the road it can be, but to start with, start in a small way if you want to, and just do a couple of processes. And if you need to integrate your CRM or something else, then by all means do that. That'll be a little bit more longer. But then you will soon see that there is a great saving in manpower and just workload, time. And the other thing you'll notice is that you won't actually lose someone from the IT department, because the IT department is not the best department to write processes. As I said, they're very good at Microsoft, etc., but they don't necessarily know what's going on down on the shop floor. So do that. When you're looking at one, look at a couple of alternatives. Look for no code or low code, because that's saving time and money and making things easier. Look for, obviously, the normal things such as references, and ask for a pilot. Would you drive it? Would you buy a car without driving it first, having a test drive?
Yeah. Or the shoe. The shoe. Would you
the shoe? Yes.
Without trying it? I think it's a better example.
It probably is, because hey, I got these cheap pair of shoes. They only cost me €10, and I looked. Actually, they're not very common. In fact, I think they're two different sizes, because they're made in Vietnam or something. And
it doesn't matter. You can buy a €1,000 pair of shoes, and if they don't fit your feet, it's even worse. then you lost 1,000, not 10. So
yeah, it's a good analogy, because every customer has got a slightly different variation on the process. Everybody does it slightly differently, and you know, you may find yourself you've bought a BPM, which yes, it can do expenses, but it can't work out. It hasn't got a calculator or something. It can't work out what is VAT 0 rated and what's VAT 7% or 22%. Or it can't do simple things like, right, these guys are, they're spending money in euros, but actually they're based in the UK.
Yeah.
So they need
without customization, you mean?
Pounds. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I think it's so important to have the ability to customize your processes without relying on external consultants or any other company. So it's a big advantage. But I think that sums up our conversation today. Thank you, Neil. I really enjoyed the talk, and it was always nice talking to you. And I hope that was also valuable insights for our audience. So thank you once again, Neil, and ciao.
Okay, thank you very much. And the time seems to have raced past. I was going to, we were going to talk about some use cases, but just look up the company website and you'll see use cases. And thank you very much for your time, Chan, and for all your listeners out there in BPM land. I hope that 2021 is a much better year, and good riddance to 2020.
Thank you, and
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.